The other tip I would give like first time parents is to tell your child to leave their door open that first couple weeks. Like leave it open all the time and say yes to everything. Like nobody knows anybody. So you might as well, if somebody says you want to go get some lunch, say yes. They may not be your best friend forever, but maybe they'll introduce you to somebody that is going to be your best friend forever. Try and say yes to a lot of the things the first couple weeks, and then you can kind of figure it out after that. And it gets you out there, and everybody's in the same spot.
Welcome to Three Little Fishes. We're three sisters who grew up in the Midwest together, but have since spread across the country. I live in Los Angeles.
I'm in Nashville.
And I live in Philadelphia. We are all married with children. We've all had careers, but now we stay at home with our families.
We've all been through ups and downs that come along with life and have always helped each other through, shared stories, and laughed together.
We welcome all of you into our daily conversations and hope you have some fun with us.
So let's jump in.
What's up, fishes? So happy you guys all are here. I think I'm going to start calling us fishes.
I like it.
I kind of like it.
I do too. It's cute.
Hi, girls.
Hi.
Hello.
Listen, I just want to just quickly remind people listening to subscribe, like, comment to our YouTube channel or wherever you're getting your pods. And people might not know this, but a fun little fact that you can also watch us on our YouTube channel and Apple Pods if you're at a computer and you want to also just have us on a screen. So we're also videoed if that excites you. Please continue to maybe spread the word.
Have low expectations.
Help us spread the word. And we would love to get more fishes to join us and jump in with our conversation. So help us spread the word if you're liking what you're seeing and maybe seeing or hearing. So, all right, guys, how is everybody doing? I can personally tell you that my house is super excited because my family is getting ready to come visit tomorrow to kind of help me celebrate. My birthday is coming up. So we are all excited.
What birthday is it, Nancy?
I know. I don't even want to say it, but 50, which is feels like such a big number, but I don't feel that old, but it feels like that's a big number. And I've talked about it before. I'm struggling with it a little bit, but I'm really trying to just lean into the joy of my people are coming to visit me and we're going to just have fun. And it's how great. And I'm just going to celebrate that I have the opportunity to go into my 50s healthy and surrounded by all my favorite people. So that is what I'm going to lean into as we move forward.
We're excited.
But I
Can't wait to be there.
I told Johanna yesterday that the plan had changed because originally you guys thought maybe you might stay in a hotel. But then when we talked, you're like, no, we'll just stay with you, which is great. And she's like, yes, party all weekend long. So she's so excited.
She's happy.
She's super excited over
what
the moon
about Rye?
I think he's excited, but because my house is smaller than yours, Johanna will have to share his room. She will be on a blow-up air mattress. His room is big, and there's plenty of room for her to be in there. Yeah. And he's like, oh, does she have to sleep in my room? And I was like, you can handle it. It's just for a few nights. It's going to be fine. He's like, all right.
All right. Well,
he's fine. I just want you to know that I'm stocking up on Prosecco so we can have mimosa mornings.
Nice.
I love that. That makes me happy.
Yes.
I can't wait.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
The countdown has begun.
Yeah. So I leave first thing in the morning. Our listeners can't see, but I'm wearing my Miami t-shirt because our middle child is going to school tomorrow and I'm not going to be there. So my husband's taking her to school. So I'm wearing some like merch for her. My other college student goes to Virginia Tech. But she doesn't leave until September, and she's actually going to Scotland for this semester. But anyway, it's like all things college and getting ready at our house. We were packing and getting organized a little bit this morning, so all they have to do is like load and unload and all the things. And it was making me remember. I don't know if you guys have heard Mom tell this story like 100 million times. But when I was a senior in high school, heading off to school, Mom's like, every single one of your siblings would come to me and be like, when is she leaving? Because you were like a nightmare child. Like mean and snotty, and I was working all the time, and I was totally in love, and everybody was just so annoying, and I just wanted to go off and do my own thing. So I totally believe her that I was a nightmare. And kind of like some days I feel that too here. Like the girls are ready to leave. They're ready. They're ready to get out of the house. They don't want to have to check in. They want to do their own program. But I'm going to miss them. I'm going to miss
I'm going to miss you, but get out. Get out.
Right.
Get out.
Right.
Yeah, it's tricky. It's a tricky thing. Yeah.
Did you have that experience, Kathy, with Grayson? Was he also a nightmare that you were like, I'm going to miss you, but yes, it's time. Goodbye.
So I had to say goodbye to him. He started school Monday, so we said goodbye last week. And yeah, I think they go through a lot of emotions, but his last couple of days, he kept. It was like we didn't have like a schedule, but he'd be like, "We'll play golf," and then he'd be like, "It's boring here," and then I'd be like, "Well, we're trying to like get last minute shopping done for him and things like that," and then he just wanted to get to see his grandparents, which is like halfway on the way to Texas because he was going to drive. And
well, mom and dad are fun. Not meaning to interrupt, but they are a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree, but he was like wanting to go.
It's
but
not
at the
more
same time,
fun in Peoria than it is in Philly. It's not more fun.
Well, that's what Grayson was saying.
Right?
I mean, Dad takes them onto all these like outings and like, like the wilderness, and I don't know what all they're getting into, but I mean, I think that he's like Dad and he doesn't stop moving. So maybe.
Well, he was getting bored and kind of ornery. So I was like, well, if you want to go, you got to get packed. Well, then he wouldn't get packed. So
Right.
I was like, well, you're not ready to go really. And I don't really want you to drive all night, which isn't safe.
Right.
So he ended up getting out of here. But long story short, he wanted to spend 2 days there, and he really should have only spent one because he had to meet my husband Peter. Flew in to Texas to help him move in. And Grayson spent like a day and a half there and then drove all night to get there to make it there in the morning. So he ended up doing basically what he wanted, but I'm not sure I
just have a question. He was supposed to pick Peter up in Texas at the airport because Peter had flown in to help him settle in his new room for school. Now, how did Peter feel about flying all the way to Texas to not be picked up by his son, who he's there to help? Just wondering, how did that go?
I think it was fine because I kind of warned him that was probably going to happen. So it wasn't like a total shock. But I think the next day, Grayson was slow to move around. So that was a little, I think, frustrating for Peter because he's trying to like organize his clothes for him. And I think he was like so tired. So they worked it out.
You're so task orientated too in that moment. You just like, I want to get all this stuff out. We've got stuff in storage. We want to get it all. You just want to get organized so you can be done. It's like
he only had job. It was like a fly in, fly out. He was only there for a day and a half. And so I thought it was sweet though, because, at the end, my son was like, oh, Dad, I don't want you to leave tomorrow. Like, I want you to stay so we can do something fun. So it's like, I think his emotions were kind of all over the place, which is normal for kids. Yeah. And I think for everybody, it was hard to say goodbye.
I know
So
I have
yeah,
a lot of friends that have like a lot of big feelings about school. Like, you want them to fly the nest and you want them to go, but it is hard to say goodbye. It is hard to pack them up into little suitcases and like send them out. And I mean, I could say it does probably get a little easier year by year, but that first year, you're just like, oh man, this is rough.
I got
You
like
know?
choked up myself saying goodbye to Grayson the second time, and I was like, not really, like it just hit me, and I wasn't
Yeah,
really expecting it. And I was like, oh, that doesn't go away.
it doesn't.
So yeah,
I
I
never
mean,
really feel sad leaving them at school, but what I think I've said this before, what I think I really feel is when they come back and visit for the weekend and then they drive off because our kids all drive to school. You fly, but we have drivers. That makes me sad because it's like they're just visiting me and now they're leaving again. They don't
Yeah.
really live with us anymore. And I think that
right.
for me was like a surprise mental shift. Even though I intellectually knew it was happening that way, I was
Yeah.
just like, "Oh, I don't like it when you
Yeah.
drive away." And they don't look back. They're out. They're like, "We're out. We're going.
But that's
Yay.
what
It's so
but that's
exciting."
what you want, right? Like you want them to
It
feel
is.
like they're ready to go and you've set them
Yeah.
up to like, take their next
Yeah.
step,
Yeah.
right?
It is. So our basement right now has the blue IKEA bags and then also some of the blue, they're not IKEA bags, they're other bags, but they zip and they're more square. And we have figured out you got to put a masking tape with like the contents on it, written on it, so because you can't see through them. But they're like so sturdy and hardy. And like the IKEA bags that don't zip are like 99 cents. They're
Oh.
amazing. They're like really tough and you can't rip them. And
Well, you
but then I've
can rip
also
them. You can rip them because Grayson, we had an IKEA bag last year, which was a gift from a friend, and I hadn't really known about them, but I did see that it was huge, so I sent it along with him last year. And I don't even think we put anything in it his first year. We just put it in there in case he needed to put stuff in his closet or whatever to store.
Mhm.
But when he came home, he had stuffed it like so full of like bedding and like other stuff. Like literally, the seams were like ripped.
That's hilarious.
And I was like, "You didn't realize that this was getting a little too full," but they're great bags, and I did buy more this year for him.
Yeah. Now, did you buy the ones
And
that are open at the top or the zipper
I
ones?
did buy the zippered ones just because
Yeah.
I don't like stuff to
You don't
fall
want stuff
out.
to fall out. Yeah.
I just think
That's how
that's
I
so funny
feel.
about the bag. You're like, these are indestructible. And it's almost like Grayson was like, challenge accepted.
Exactly.
That's a boy for you.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Do you think you packed less this year or more or because I think
Well, because he's in Texas. So last year when he left, one of his friends was getting a storage unit. So Grayson decided to share it with him. So
Mhm.
he put a bunch of things that he didn't bring home to store over the summer. And I never really saw what those things were because I just don't remember
Okay.
what we packed,
Right.
like everything we
Yeah.
packed. And I thought he did still bring a lot of stuff home because he had a car to bring some
Yeah.
stuff home. But I think having that unit was helpful just because, he had his laundry basket and like just a lot of like bulky stuff that you just don't need to bring back and forth and
Right.
some hanging clothes and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it worked out well for our family to do that.
Yeah.
And because we couldn't move in, obviously, you can't move in early over the
Right.
summer.
Right. Right.
So I
Right.
think a lot of people are, have that same kind of dilemma. What do you do? If you're drivable, you can just throw all your stuff in the car. But if you live an airplane away, you have to think about those
Storage
things.
units.
Yeah.
Storage units. I have friends that they had to fly to their places and they would get storage units as well. And they wouldn't they would get on an airplane, then they would go to Target or Walmart or whatever their big box store was, and they would have their order ready for them,
Yes.
and just at the pickup. Did you do that too?
Yeah, we bought we made quite a few trips to Target. Like, you're thinking, oh, we just need a couple of things. And then you get back to the dorm and you're like, oh, shoot, we should have gotten, we need a little wastebasket. I mean, I feel like we
all
made
the little
multiple
things.
trips. Yeah.
Yes.
But I think the big thing for me that helped just for school, and I didn't really realize this till it wasn't too late, but I hadn't gotten Grayson a mailbox. So, like a couple weeks before school started, it dawned on me because I saw something in like the correspondence that I could do that. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is a great idea. So I called and actually spoke to the lady in the mail room or whatever and got him set up with the mailbox that he'll have like the entire time that he's there. And I was like, I thought, it's restricted on, how much stuff you could send or size or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But they are totally with it. And she's like, you can send whatever you want. Oh. She's like a mattress, like anything. Wow. And I think what they do there, I mean, I know this is what they do at TCU is they have a overflow area and it's like a parking deck and all these kids' things are like put in rows. So when you show up, you get a notice that your mailbox has, a package or whatever.
Yeah.
So all these things that I sent from Amazon for him were waiting in his like mailbox holds when we got there. So it was kind of cool. We pulled up in the car and they shoved it all in the car and off we went.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah.
Well, we for our listeners, we put together a list for that first year dorm supplies, and it's pretty good. The only thing I probably would add to it that I loved that we did was we got a tension like shower curtain rod, and we put it on the window with some room darkening curtains that we bought at like TJ Maxx or something. So they were super cheap. But
that's a good idea.
We didn't. It's nice to sleep in the dark. And the rooms do have shades, but they're not that great. So we did the tension rod, which I thought really did work well for her room, and we'll do it again this year. And then she also got a tension rod, and then she did like a shower curtain over her open like closet, like it doesn't have a door. So she kind of kept everything nice and neat, which is a very girl thing to do. I don't know if the boys would care about this, but like it covered the mess, the hanging clothes and the shoes and stuff like that. And so she would have it like covered.
Aesthetically pleasing. So nobody saw, looking.
Yes, we don't want to see the mess. So those are two bonus items that were not on that list. But when we packed her up this year, I think she pared down a little bit. She was like, I didn't need that many shoes. I didn't need, 6 sets of towels. I really only need 3. I didn't need all the extra. Because there is deliver, like stuff can get delivered to your dorm. They can get delivered to your sorority house. They can get delivered to your apartment or whatever.
Right.
And she has a car, so you can go to Walmart. Like where she goes to school, it's Walmart. There's like the big Walmart there. Yeah. So I think, everybody panics that you get there and you're not going to have what you need, but you can always go to the store.
Right.
And space is limited. Like I don't remember, like I remember my dorm, we had no space. So it's like,
it's so tiny.
You have to really just have like the essentials, and you just don't have the room to have everything.
Right.
Yeah.
The other tip I would give like first time parents is to tell your child to leave their door open that first couple weeks. Like leave it open all the time and say yes to everything. Like nobody knows anybody. So you might as well, if somebody says you want to go get some lunch, say yes. They may not be your best friend forever, but maybe they'll introduce you to somebody that is going to be your best friend forever. Try and say yes to a lot of the things the first couple of weeks, and then you can kind of figure it out after that. And it gets you out there, and everybody's in the same spot.
Yeah, it's awkward.
What do you think?
For everybody.
It's awkward.
Yeah, I agree.
Everybody feels like a fish out of water. No matter how confident you are, everybody's uncomfortable. So you might as well just leave your door open and just be available physically. Maybe you're not emotionally available, but like be there physically so that you can make a friend.
Yeah, that's a good tip.
Because you need a friend. Everybody does.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
We're social human beings. We need to have that
We
support.
need people.
Yes.
For sure.
Another thing I think that was helpful for Grayson is he connected through social media like before he went. And I think that's how they connect with other people going to schools to find potential roommates kind of thing. But you can also do that and kind of, if you find somebody and pair well with each other, you can, figure out what they're bringing, so you don't double up on stuff. That's like big stuff, like maybe a TV or fans or whatever.
Right. Really communicate with your roommate about what it is you feel like you might need in your room, for sure.
Yeah, do kids watch TV anymore? Like, I know, like, do they need TVs anymore? Like, I thought that the young ones only watch like their little screens.
Yeah. My kids didn't have a TV in their freshman year. Our oldest was in an apartment, so she did have a TV in her apartment. But our daughter is going to be a sophomore, doesn't have a TV. She'll do look at something on her iPad, but that's it. She doesn't have a TV. And her room is too small because she's living in a sorority dorm. It's too small.
We ended up buying our son a TV because his room configuration was 2 separate rooms, but they shared a common space. And the common space had couches and a place for a TV, and it had like a refrigerator. So we ended up buying the TV. I think at first we thought we'd split it with everyone, but we just bought it, and then, so we didn't have to haggle about who gets it or whatever. And I thought they had cable in their dorm or whatever, and the RA said that they had it. And every time we came to visit, we tried to figure it out, but it never even worked except to
play games,
stream something or play games. So maybe it was a blessing that it didn't have cable.
Yeah.
But now Grayson has that TV in his room, and he's living in his fraternity, and it does work.
Yeah.
So
he's happy. So he's happy he has it.
Well, I think so, just because he likes to watch sports sometimes, like football and stuff like that.
Coming from a TV world, I'm happy to hear that he likes TV and he wants to continue to watch TV. So I mean,
hopefully
it won't
be too much of a distraction, but yeah.
Well, so it brings up a good point. Like anybody who's sending their kids off to school, and I do think it's a good reminder, is just remind your kids, like set the expectation, for the kids, like, not everybody needs to get straight A's, but we expect you to show up to class. We expect you to connect with your teachers. We expect you to put yourself out there. We want you to make your experience as complete as it can be so that you get the most out of this time and money. Because I don't care where you're going, it is a fortune. And so, make the most of it.
It's an investment, for sure.
It's a huge investment in you. And it's not just about the academics. It's about everything. So, make the most of your time.
We had that talk. Just like, we expect you to be in class.
I've noticed too with some kids, like everybody doesn't love it. And that's okay. Like I loved college. I think my husband loved college. I think my girls love college, but not everybody feels that way, and it's okay. You just have to figure out how to navigate your feelings, find your jam, find your lane, and just keep going forward so that you can set yourself up for after college. So everybody doesn't have to like have the time of their lives, but you do have to like put forth the effort and try to figure it out. And
finding like a new social group is difficult, and people that you connect with. And I think, I mean, that's super scary, I think, for kids.
It
and
is.
I even think, going back to school is really emotionally stressful.
It is.
Yeah, I think it's hard. And I think kids just have to give themselves a break too, and know that every day is different. And like you said, every day is not going to be fantastic, but you will have fantastic days, right?
You will. Yeah. And us parents don't have fantastic days all the time. Like I thought for sure when our oldest so we had 2 in college last year, and I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to have all this time on my hands. It's going to be incredible. But these kids call a lot, they still reach out and need like support, and it's taxing for me.
Which is amazing that they do that. That's amazing that they feel like they can reach out. So that's a testament to you that you've made that a safe space. So that's a great thing.
Yes, but like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I fall into the bed at night sometimes because I'm like, these kids are wearing me out and they don't even live with me anymore.
I think it's funny because I think sometimes
Stop calling me.
I love the calls.
I love them too.
Sometimes
but like,
they ebb and
sometimes
flow.
I'm like,
for me, sometimes they're like multiple times a day, and then sometimes there'll be a day or two. Well,
yeah, you don't hear from them, or a week.
A day. Oh, never. I mean, not ever a week usually, but I think it's funny, and they do need you and need some kind of like support. You know what I mean? Like, am I doing this right? I just kind of want to talk it out or whatever. So it's good. And I think there are different kids, though. There might be those kids that don't want to call. And that's one thing I think some of my friends have said, like they have set up a time for those kids to check in, just because obviously you want to know how your child's doing at school too. So if you're not one to want to really call, your parents really deserve a call just to make sure you're alive, and doing okay. So maybe a Sunday afternoon or whatever works, for some people. But I mean, it's just
I mean, back in the day when I went to school, I don't know that I had a cell phone. So you would have to like use the hallway phone or use the phone in the sorority. Then I did have a cell, but right when I left, I mean, that was like 39 years ago. Yeah. That's a long time. So my mom every once in a while would call and she'd be like, leave a message at the sorority house. Tell her to call me. I need to know she's alive. I haven't heard from her in 2 weeks or something. It was so bad. I think I was bad.
I think the only other thing I wanted to talk about was, it is emotional sending your kids, and like my neighbor, she just sent her first off to school over the weekend. And, she was saying that her school that he's going to, they had like a whole ceremony about like for the parents and talked about, it wasn't
fancy,
like super sad, but she says it was a thing.
Yeah.
So every school does it differently. Some will be like, goodbye, see ya. Some provide Kleenex. I mean, which I think is kind of like.
I mean, some kids that they choose to go to school, it's interesting because their parents can't go or they're doing it on their own and they just show up like on a bus or something. Like, so it's like
that happened to my husband. His parents did not take him to college. Poor thing.
See you. Get out.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Get out. You're 18. You're 18. We made it. Go.
You're raising yourself.
So anyway, I think the big thing is everybody just needs to know, like for me, I really have to give myself a pep talk. Like, let's stay positive. Like, this is not, the end of the world. Know that you do a good job. You did a good job raising them. Hopefully they'll make good decisions, try and be nice to yourself. Go out with your friends. Like, try and get your mind off of it. That's what helped me. Like, stay busy and not be like, moping around in his room or whatever. I just, It will be fine.
Speaking of this, like we just kind of talked about you all sending your kids to school. Next week, I'm going to tease a little bit for next week because we have a special guest who's going to come sit with us, and her name is Val Holland, and she is a college counselor who you can hire her, and she can help you and your high schooler kind of talk about the curriculum that they're taking, if they want to go to college, what they're looking for in college, because the landscape of if college is your path has changed so much. It's an emotional experience. It's a financial commitment, and it's changed. Like when I when I graduated high school in 93, gulp, and it's changed so much then. And I have a sophomore in high school, so he's my first, and we're now starting to like think about it. He thinks college is his path. So I personally am excited to listen to her and kind of get her take on, this new,
the process. Going it's a process.
Yeah. Thank you. I couldn't get my thoughts out. Yes.
Yeah.
So, I think I'm excited. Process. I'm excited for next week to sit with her and talk with her and, hear all about her expertise of what her thoughts are.
Yeah.
So if you have kids getting ready to go to college, or they soon will be going to college, don't miss out on this episode. If you have a high schooler,
this is the episode to listen to, because she is super knowledgeable about the whole process, starting with freshman year, honestly. So she worked with us, and she came up with some ideas for schools that I never in a million years would have thought of. So she's a great resource, and it will be very interesting, I think, for anyone that has a high schooler thinking about going to college. So tune in.
All right, ladies. What is for dinner?
Well, I'm going out tonight, so my people are on their own.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, so I'm going out with girlfriends tonight. We are talking about spring break, senior year, which is something our girls did not do, but the boy wants to do. So
already you're talking about it?
You got to book it. It's got, apparently this is, and I don't know if this is a Southern thing, but we plan everything. We get organized. We have meetings. We have spreadsheets. We plan everything. We get everything organized. So we're starting that process tonight.
Oh,
and it's a big group of us.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's a lot.
All right.
It's all good. And I'm not in charge, but I am participating.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll be interested to hear, like, where's the hot spot, and like, what's that look like for you? Kathy, what about you? What's for dinner?
We are going to make Fiesta Chicken. Ooh. Now, I have to say, I have not actually tried it, so I can't say if it's good or not, but I saw it on wellplated.com, and it looks just like, wholesome, like whole ingredients, like somewhat healthy. So I'm going to try it tonight. So
I'm
going to put it in the show notes, and you all can try it and let me know what you think.
I'll try it.
I always say, is it an up or down with my kids?
Yeah, right.
Is this a do-over or not?
All right, let's all try it. Let's all try the Fiesta Chicken and see if it's like a thumbs up or thumbs down. It sounds like a party. Fiesta.
Maybe I'll make it for my people before I go out. I don't know. Yeah. Also in the show notes, we'll put links to not only the recipe, but the bags that we talked about. And then I forgot to mention, there's this Hulken bag that also is amazing. It's on wheels and it's insulated. So for those that go on to apartments, like we always go to Trader Joe's and get the frozen meals. You put that in this insulated. It's easy to carry because it's on wheels, but it's not super heavy. So it's not hard like a cooler. So we'll put that link in the show notes as well.
Yeah, that bag
and
looks
we'll put
cool.
our list. We'll put our list for the dorm essentials in the show notes.
Yeah.
That dorm list I thought was very helpful, by the way. I used that to just kind of check myself to see if there was any major thing I was missing. So
yeah, I used it too. So
yeah, it's good. So anyway, well, looking forward to seeing you two tomorrow. Celebrate Nancy.
Excited!
Yeah. Anyway, we want to thank you for listening to our podcast and letting us sisters jump into your day. Please make sure to follow, rate, and review us. We want your feedback. Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Be safe. Sisters out.